All right, well, I want to wrap that up quick because I want to get to our off script. This is a little different, this off script segment that we're going to do today, because if you've been watching, what we've done the last maybe month and a half is Dirk and I have been pinging questions off of one another where he'll surprise me with something and I'll have to answer extemporaneously, or I'll surprise him. Well, this time we got a comment apparently from a reader that Christopher's curated that wants to know something. So
we're going to have seen it.
We have not seen this, so we're going to see it. I'm going to read it, and then Dirk's going to answer it.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's see what it says here. Okay. I've heard stats saying 80 to 90% of manufacturing job loss is due to automation. Wow, we just talked about it. We really didn't know this, folks. We really didn't know this. The point being that the job losses are not caused by cheap foreign labor, but by automation. There you go. But that never made any sense to me. We've lost, by some estimates, 70,000 factories and millions of jobs in this century alone. Many moved to or built in Asia or Mexico. But the cost of technology is pretty much the same here as it is in Mexico or Asia. In fact, one could argue that it's cheaper here because the USA drives much of that innovation, so it's more accessible, etc. Is the thinking that automation is causing job loss the major reason for losing factories, or is that a bogus argument? That's a good question. That's a really good question.
I'm trying to figure the logic here.
Well,
can you flip that slide up again so I can read it?
Well, I think the key thing is the cost of technology is pretty much the same here as it is in Mexico or USA. In fact, one could argue that it's cheaper. So is the idea that automation causing this job loss the reason for losing factories, or is that bogus, is the question?
Well, I think it seems to me, and maybe I'm just reading this wrong, but I think there's two different issues. There is job loss, and there's factory moving, and you can I think the answer is no matter where the factory is, it takes less people.
Automation's going to be
automation. So even if you have a factory here in the United States, and maybe I'm misreading this, but if you have a factory, let's take the steel industry for instance. Most of the steel industry jobs went to what are called, what are they called? I think they're called mini mills. We just don't do big steel
mills anymore. Yeah.
We recycle metals, and they go into these things called, I think they're called mini mills or something like that. Most of the job loss in the steel industry in the United States was not because steel jobs were shipped overseas. It's because we have revamped how we make steel in the United States. And that is the majority of the job loss. Not that some steel jobs didn't go overseas, they did, but majority of it was simply we're more efficient on these and we don't need it.
I think that's a good point. I think that another point that's related to that is this idea that it's really hard to tease out these issues. I mean, really to say that, okay, this is because of this is because of that, is beside the point. Automation is happening everywhere. It's a flat world. And I think that there's also this idea that work's going to flow to where it's most effective within the framework of an interconnected supply chain. So, I mean, all these things are influencing one another at the same time. It's really hard to say, well, is it because that it's cheaper to be here, or it's cheaper to be there, or there's automation? Why are the jobs going away? It's very, very complicated.
Right.
And one thing that I'll point out is I think this focus on manufacturing jobs has been said a few different places. To me, is a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, manufacturing has changed so much that it's just not, and will not be in the future, the core of anybody's industry, certainly an American industry.
And it's interesting, even if you, and I've done a bit of this over the last few weeks, if you read comments from steel executives and comments from even coal executives, bring coal mining back. Well, the problem with coal is not that it's not the EPA.
Right.
It's just that coal is a lot more expensive than natural gas.
Yeah.
So who are the people who would buy, the energy companies, who are they going to buy? Are they going to buy coal? Or are they going to buy natural gas? They're going to buy natural gas.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Coal's got to be extracted at a price where it doesn't create a good job. It's not worth a good job to bring it out of the earth.
Yeah, so even
I'm saying teasing out these issues are really hard.
Well, and that's the thing, is people even within the industries are going, it's the issue is that I can't sell my coal to the electricity maker because they're buying their natural gas.
I hate to say this, but I mean, a lot of this is just politics, man. I mean, a lot of this is just like, listen, let's find an issue that we know is going to hit somebody square at a certain segment of the populace that I can get votes from. I mean, it's sad, but that is the truth about a lot of stuff.
And as we've said before, not to downplay the impact on somebody in the coal industry losing their job, or somebody in the steel industry losing. I mean, obviously that does happen. They're real people. they're impacted by it, and that's not good for them. But when you look at industry as a whole, is it really the way it's being lined up to be by the politicians? And I say, no, it isn't. It sucks for those people who are caught in that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in the big picture, that's not what's going on.
Well, as we pointed out in the past, I mean, people lost a lot of ditch digging jobs to steam shovels, 100 plus years ago. I mean, nobody really cared about those jobs going away because they were awful jobs.
And the whole horse raising industry went away when automobiles came along.
Well, that's off script. Thank you to that reader for sending that in.
Please feel free not to send any more.
No, please do send them.
Good.
We like that. Those are good questions. But yeah, send them in to us at QDL at qualitydigest.com. We'll get them on the air. We'll respond to them, and we will do our best.
Pretend like we will.
Do our best to try to give you an answer that you want. So check that out going forward. All right.